Hello friends, it's an absolutely beautiful day here in Alaska today, and so we wanted to get out of the city a little bit, do a little bit of exploring, and bring you guys along with us.
Right now we are at McHugh Creek. It's about 15 minutes south of Anchorage, and just look at how gorgeous it is here.
You'll see in front of us, just absolutely beautiful. There's Cook Inlet, mountains over there. There is the highway right there. And then behind us, just nothing but mountains and forests and trees. It's absolutely beautiful. But the place that we're taking you today is actually called Whittier, Alaska. We're going to Whittier today because we're craving one of our favorite foods, fish and chips from a place called Swiftwater Cafe. And we love this. It's one of the highlights of every summer for us, and we thought we wanted to take you guys along, show you the drive to Whittier, the quirkiness of the town. It's pretty unique. I think you guys will like it. So let's explore Alaska on this beautiful summer day. You'll see now we're up here on a boardwalk here at McHugh Creek with the creek running directly below us, and it actually heads to a waterfall that is down that way. So that is McHugh Creek, a great little roadside turnout, lots of picnic tables, great place just to kind of get out of the city really quickly in like 15 minutes and just, you know, be near the mountains, be near the water. There's a ton of hiking trails that take off from this area. So just a great little turnout and one of the first places you come to when you're heading south from Anchorage. Now, back on the road. So on the way south, you come to the turnoff for the little town of Girdwood. Girdwood is where Alaskan ski resort is. We've been there in several of our vlogs. But when you get to the turnoff for Girdwood, just keep going straight because Whittier is another, I don't know, probably 20 minutes past Girdwood.
You'll see right now the inlet is mostly just mud flats because the tide is out. But in just a few hours, this will all fill back up with water. It's kind of crazy to think of just the sheer amount of water that flows in and out of this inlet every day.
And then right here we come to the turnoff where we're actually going to turn off of the highway and onto the road going to Portage Glacier and Whittier. And then we're going to be on this road for about 6 to 7 miles until we get to the entrance to the tunnel that takes us to Whittier. Yes, we said tunnel. This is pretty cool. So we're coming up to the Anson Anderson Memorial Tunnel. Basically, where we're at now is on one side of this mountain range, and the town of Whittier is on the other side of the mountain range. Now, for a number of years, the only way you could get to Whittier, or one of the primary ways to get to Whittier, was by taking a train through this tunnel. There were no passenger vehicles allowed. And then a few years ago, actually I guess a number of years ago now, they actually widened the tunnel and made it so that cars can now drive through, so you can drive to Whittier. But this is about 2 miles right through a mountain, and we will come out on the other side of the range in the town of Whittier. So here we go, driving through a mountain.
So as you can see, this is not a very wide tunnel. It is 1 car width. So they actually open it on one side for about 15 minutes, and then they close it and let all the cars through, and then they open it on the other side to come back through the other way. So there's nobody passing each other. For a while, this was actually the longest passenger tunnel in the United States. I don't know if it still is, but it's pretty long, about 2.5 miles. The speed limit coming through the tunnel is about 25 miles per hour. So it takes about 6 minutes to get all the way through.
There have been a couple instances where like rock slides or mudslides will actually close one of the ends of the tunnel and people are just kind of stuck, like you can't get through until they clear it. That's crazy.
We are coming up here to the end of the tunnel. We are going to exit into Whittier.
And just like that, we have driven through a mountain, and well, apparently the sunshine is gone also. That is one thing about Whittier, is that you never know what you're going to see on the other side of the mountain, because it's just like, even though it was a 6-minute drive, like you drove through a mountain range, so it totally could be different weather, which it is here. So this is the town of Whittier. It is primarily a harbor seaside town. A lot of fishing, a lot of, you know, things like whale watching tours, a lot of things like that. Primarily a summer tourist town. Though there are a number of people who live here year round. It's definitely a town that is busier in the summer season than in the winter. So Whittier's kind of boom and heyday was during World War II. It was one of the, if not the, most northern deep water ports for the US military during the war. So this was like a booming town. But when the military pulled out after the war, it kind of left the town just sort of with not a lot, honestly. But there are some kind of unique, quirky things about Whittier, and we're gonna show you probably the one that I think is the weirdest. So the population of Whittier is around 300 people, probably a little under 300. So think about most towns of 300 people that you know, and think about what they look like, right? A lot of like one-story buildings, maybe some little shops. Check this out.
Not Whittier.
This is a 15-story building. And not only is it a 15-story building in a town of about 300 people, almost everybody in the entire town lives in this building. So obviously this building would have been used by the military when it was here. It was built in the 1950s. And then again, when the military pulled out, basically the town moved in and took it over. And this is where everybody lives. Now there are some other military buildings that were abandoned. In fact, for a while, the two largest buildings in all of Alaska were right here in Whittier, this one and then this next one. This is the other building, and as you can see, completely abandoned. And you guys, tell me that this does not look straight out of a horror movie. Oh my goodness, just totally abandoned, old concrete building from the 50s. Lots of like rusty metal. Now I have seen some videos here on YouTube where people have snuck into the building and kind of gone in to check it out. Definitely something that we will not be doing today. Basically, this building is the stuff that nightmares are made of. But it is a pretty unique part of Alaska's history. I mean, how many places in a town of 300 people have a huge building that everybody lives in and then a giant abandoned building like this? Some of the things that Whittier is known for, obviously the fishing, a lot of tourism out of here. Now Whittier does have, since it's like a deep water port, which is what the military loved, Whittier does get cruise ships that actually come in here, like big ships, like Princess comes in here to Whittier. So as you can imagine, when a cruise ship with 4,000 people, 3,000 people comes into port, the town fills up, right? Like all the restaurants, all of the gift shops. So that's kind of fun to see. But Whittier is a unique town that we really love visiting. But we do love visiting it primarily for one reason. But before we head there, we drove up this road to give you a view of what Whittier is like, the whole area. You'll see the town is down over in there, and then it is just absolutely surrounded by water and mountains, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then if you look over here, you can see a glacier way down there above the water. How cool is that? So just as I was telling you guys about rock slides and mudslides here in Whittier, it looks like one happened right here. You'll see all of these rocks, all of the trees that came down right here next to the road. I would not have wanted to see this happen. With all the natural beauty here in Whittier, the quirkiness of a town under one roof, the buildings, the abandoned buildings, the glaciers, everything around here, we love experiencing that. But the reason we come to Whittier is Varleys Swiftwater Seafood Cafe. Sherri, how much do you love Varleys?
A lot.
You guys, when you live in Alaska, one thing that we get a lot of is fresh seafood, right? Like seafood is really good up here. And this probably our favorite place, at least for things like halibut, cod, scallops, shrimp, because it all comes from the waters around Whittier right here. It's so unbelievably fresh. So when we want fresh seafood, there's lots of great places in Anchorage we could get, but this gives us like a beautiful drive. We get to come to Whittier and we get to eat at Swiftwater, which we're pretty excited about. Yep. So this is what the inside of Varleys looks like. You'll see your order up there at the window. Just a lot of different seafood and nautical kind of stuff on the walls. And in the summertime, it is almost always busy. And there is seating inside, but we are gonna sit outside so we can just look over the marina here, look out at the mountains and the water. And Sherri Beth, what did we start with here?
We got the red seafood chowder.
Look how good that looks. Just absolutely filled with veggies, filled with shrimp, filled with cod. This looks so, so good.
No, the other way, baby.
So you'll see Sherri and I both ordered the exact same thing. We both went with the half and half, which is half shrimp, which looks amazing and fresh, and then half halibut and then chips underneath. Now you can get this with cod, but the halibut is just unbelievable. Thoughts so far? You've taken a couple bites?
So good.
It's so good. You know, this place is not open in the wintertime, and so basically all winter long we crave Swiftwater, and so when it opens in the spring, we're always so excited to make our first trip down here for this. That was delicious. We are gonna start our hour, maybe hour 15-minute drive back home now. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love exploring Alaska with you guys. If you have any questions about Whittier or about Alaska, leave them in the comments below.
Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not, and we will see you in the next video.